We're in a climate emergency. Canada has net zero targets, but the buildings going up today, they might still be heating with gas. They might still be cooling with outdated systems that guzzle electricity and leak energy. Why? Because Ontario's building code isn't built for the future. In fact, it's barely keeping up with the present. I'm Ammar. I'm an energy engineer working on decarbonization projects in buildings across Canada, and I've seen firsthand how regulations shape our homes, our costs, and our climate footprint. So today on What the Policy, we're tackling a big question. Why is Ontario's building code failing decarbonization? And what do we need to change to make our buildings future-proof? We can no longer afford slow updates and low standards. The clock is ticking. Every inefficient building we construct today locks in emissions for decades. Let's start with fundamentals. Buildings are responsible for about 17% of Ontario's greenhouse gas emissions, and that's just operational emissions. When you include embodied carbon are the emissions from making concrete, steel, insulation, and glass. The total impact climbs even higher. But here's what makes buildings unique in the climate equation. They last. The car you buy today might be scrapped in 15 years. The boiler in a school might be replaced in 20. But a new home, a new condo tower, these will still be standing and emitting in 2080. This makes every new construction project a carbon commitment. The decisions made at the blueprint stage lock in future emissions. A home built today with inefficient walls or a fossil fuel furnace will likely still have those same systems in 2050. So how do we shape those decisions? That's where building codes come in. A good code acts like a climate lever. It ratchets up minimum standards, forcing innovation, lowering energy demand, and nudging the entire market forward. Every code cycle is a chance to future-proof thousands of buildings. But a weak code, that's a time bomb. Ontario's last major energy update to its code was in 2017, which was based on studies and modeling from 2012. We are designing buildings in 2025 with regulations grounded in 2012. That would be like trying to launch SpaceX with a 1990s telecom manual. Meanwhile, climate science has moved forward. The grid has changed. Heat pump technology has matured, and other jurisdictions are racing ahead. British Columbia introduced a step code in 2017 that offers a pathway to net zero ready by 2032. California is mandating all-electric new construction. France and Germany are embedding embodied carbon limits into their codes. Ontario, we're still waiting. And the problem is compounding. Every year of delay means another cohort of buildings locked into outdated specs. These aren't numbers. They're homes, classrooms, hospitals, apartment towers. A weak code is not a neutral act. It's an active choice to emit. Let's be clear. The decisions we make about how we build are climate decisions. A wall that leaks heat is a policy failure. A furnace that burns gas in 2025 is a choice. A code that lets developers cut corners is an institutional failure. Every piece of the system matters. Builders, inspectors, utility planners, city councils. But the code? That's the master switch. Right now, it's stuck on dim. So let's see what's actually in the code. The Ontario Building Code is massive, over 1,000 pages, and can feel impenetrable. But zoom in, and its energy efficiency requirements fall into two buckets. Part 9, low-rise buildings, single-family homes, duplexes, row houses. Part 3, large buildings, mid and high-rise apartments, office buildings, schools. Both categories offer two compliance paths. 1, prescriptive path, a checklist of minimum requirements. For example, you must use R22 wall insulation, windows with a maximum U value, and so on. 2, performance path. You simulate your building in software, compare it to a reference building, and show that it performs equally or better. At first glance, this sounds progressive, flexible, even modern. But the devil is in the benchmarks. Both paths target outdated, low-ambition targets. Let's say you're building a new home in Ottawa today. You could meet the prescriptive path and install a 92% efficient gas furnace, R22 batt insulation in the walls, double pane windows, no requirement for EV chargers, no requirement for solar, and that's it. Congratulations, you pass. Now let's say you want to go performance path. You model the home in software and beat the reference by 5%. Maybe you use a slightly better water heater. You still pass, but your total carbon emissions still sky high if you use gas. Because here's the core issue: the code does not factor in carbon. Gas and electricity are treated as energy equivalents, even though burning natural gas in your basement releases direct CO2, while electricity is getting cleaner every year. This one oversight has massive consequences. Builders can keep installing gas appliances without penalty. Heat pumps get no reward. There's no push for electrification. Worse yet, many new homes aren't even wired to support future electric upgrades. The panel is undersized, the ductwork is gas-specific. Retrofitting later will cost thousands. And EV chargers? Not required. Builders can skip the conduit for $200 today, but that means $3,000 in drywall, wiring, and panel work later. These are decisions with generational impacts, and our code isn't helping. Even worse, the code is silent on smart infrastructure. There are no mandates for load-shifting technology, no baseline for battery integration, no encouragement for demand response systems. We are building analog homes in a digital energy age. Ontario is acting like the energy grid is static, but it's not. It's evolving, fast, and the buildings we construct need to evolve with it. Instead, we build the same house again and again, and we call it progress. Now let's identify the gaps that matter. Let's talk specifics. Here are the biggest holes in Ontario's code that are actively undermining our climate goals and locking us into inefficient building stock for decades to come. The first thing to consider is weak thermal envelope requirements. Let's start with the basics of energy loss. Your walls, roof, windows, and floors, these are collectively known as the building envelope. Heat moves from hot to cold. In winter, that means every bit of warm air inside your home is trying to leak out, and cold air is trying to seep in. The job of the envelope is to resist that, but Ontario's requirements are behind. The current code allows R22 insulation in walls. To put that in context, R22 was progressive 2 decades ago. Now, it's mediocre. Compare this with British Columbia step code pushing toward R30 and above for walls, although the weather there is way less extreme. Passive house buildings consistently using R40 plus walls, R60 roofs, and triple glazed windows. European Union mandates requiring near zero energy performance standards by 2030. Windows are another leak point. Most new builds still use double pane windows with mediocre thermal performance. In colder climates, this is barely acceptable. And here's the biggest issue: airtightness is not enforced. Ontario does not require blower door testing to verify how leaky a building is. That's like letting someone sell a car without checking if it leaks oil. The code allows air changes per hour, ACH, between 6 to 8 in new homes. For comparison, passive house standard is 0.6 ACH. BC Step 5 targets below 1.4 ACH. This isn't just a technical detail. A house that leaks 5 times more air takes 5 times more energy to keep warm. The cost difference is real. For low-income households, this means energy poverty. For the grid, it means unnecessary peak demand. The envelope isn't glamorous, but it's where efficiency starts or fails. Unambitious HVAC and fuel standards is the next thing to look at. HVAC systems are the mechanical heart of a building, and Ontario's code still allows them to run on fossil fuels by default. A 92% efficient gas furnace is considered good, but good for what? Certainly not for emissions. Here's the real comparison. A cold climate air source heat pump, 250-350% efficient, powered by a grid that's 90% plus carbon-free in Ontario. Yet the code treats them as equal, or worse, favors the gas furnace because it fits legacy infrastructure. That's outdated, dangerous thinking. And the cost of locking in gas isn't just emissions. Future retrofit costs when municipalities ban new gas hookups, stranded assets like ductwork and vents not compatible with heat pumps, higher insurance risks as fossil fuels become a liability. Many homes also come with undersized electrical panels, mostly under 100A instead of 200A. That limits your ability to install heat pumps, EV chargers, induction stoves, solar batteries. You're boxed in, and it's avoidable just if the code required builders to think ahead. Efficiency and on-site generations go together, and this is the third hurdle: lack of renewable energy and load flexibility standards. We are in an era of solar, batteries, and smart grids, Yet Ontario's building code reads like it's from the 1990s. There are no meaningful solar mandates, not even basic solar-ready requirements like conduit from roof to panel, space for an inverter, south-facing roof area. This isn't radical, it's code in places like California, Spain, and even parts of Australia. Ontario's missed opportunity here is massive. Rooftop solar can reduce grid strain. It can power electric heating during winter days. It can lower lifetime energy bills, especially for multi-residential buildings, but none of it happens by default, because the code doesn't require it. Same goes for load flexibility. Smart panels, time of use control, and battery storage should be standard in large residential and commercial builds, yet they're nowhere to be found. We build to minimum specs and then act surprised when we have to retrofit everything. This isn't just inefficient, it's negligent. Now let's discuss what needs to change. We've diagnosed the problem. Now let's outline what Ontario's next code needs to fix. 1. Make carbon visible. The biggest fix? Require that every performance path energy model include carbon emissions as a metric, not just energy use. Emissions are what matter for climate. Without carbon, we're blind. 2. Set a phase-out date for new fossil systems. New homes should not be built with gas furnaces or gas water heaters after 2027, period. Give builders and utilities a clear timeline. Give the market time to respond. 3. Mandatory airtightness testing. No more guessing. Every new home should be tested with a blower door and required to meet a minimum threshold. 4. R-value reforms. Wall insulation should move to R30 as standard by 2027 and roof insulation toward R60. Continuous exterior insulation should be encouraged or required. 5. Smart panel plus EV-ready mandates. All new homes and buildings should come with 200 panels, space for a heat pump breaker, EV-ready wiring or conduit to parking areas. 6. Solar-ready standards. Mandate roof space planning, conduit, and junction box pre-installation. Even if panels aren't installed at time of construction, make it cheap and easy to do later. 7. Fast permitting PLUFI. Reductions for zero carbon designs. Reward developers building passive house, net zero ready, or all-electric buildings with streamlined approvals and lower fees. This isn't just about code. It's about aligning the building sector with climate policy. Ontario cannot meet its 2030 or 2050 targets if it continues approving buildings that are incompatible with those goals. Actions speak more than words. Now you understand the issue, so what can you do? If you're a builder, go beyond code. You're the front line. Start planning for heat pumps, air tightness, solar. Your reputation will be built on what you construct today. If you're an architect or engineer, advocate with clients, specify better systems, design for carbon, not just compliance. If you're a policymaker, push for change. Every year we delay is another year of compounding emissions. If you're a homeowner, ask tough questions. Is your home future ready? Is your builder installing 1990s tech or 2030 systems? And if you're just a citizen, share this video. Email your MPP. Talk about it, because codes don't change unless people demand it. Thanks for watching What the Policy. If this episode sparked questions, ideas, or even frustration, that's a good thing, because change starts with awareness, but it doesn't stop there. Here's what you can do next. Drop a comment with your thoughts or your experience navigating building standards. Share this video with a friend, an architect, a counselor, anyone who needs to know what's broken. Hit that subscribe button because we're not done. We've got more episodes coming that break down the hidden policies shaping your power, your bills, your planet. Because when it comes to decarbonizing our future, buildings are just the beginning. And understanding policy, that's your superpower.